Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Happy Saturday to you and your family. I hope you're having an amazing weekend. Thanks for taking the time to join me here. We're going to take a look at Gala and really just help understand what's going to happen next. It did do a pretty awesome pump yesterday, and a lot of my community members were able to take advantage of that. So great job. Well done, everyone. Super happy for you. And yeah, let's see what's going to continue to happen here. It could very well continue higher. It could decrease lower. We're going to try to see if the technical analysis tells us anything there. And again, if you are new to the channel, just know I've been trading for a very long time. Feel free to register at my website here, cryptocash.tech. If you want to become a better trader, attend my trading academy and join a magnificent group of traders here. So again, as per usual, we're seeing some healthy gains. There are some losses here and there, of course, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. You got to be willing to, get back in the swing of things if you take a loss, right? It's okay. It's very normal to do that. But for example, here we can kind of see like this 273% Gala here. That is just freaking amazing. 51 to 59 or 5.1 to 5.9. Well done, K71. This is one of my newer, better, amazing traders. So keep up the good work. Super proud of all you. And again, if you want to become a better trader and have the best exchange possible, I recommend Bitget. They are phenomenal. They offer a $10,000 prize pool monthly. In fact, February 1st to the 14th, we're having our next competition. Be sure to register for that. Link down below, of course. If you've used my link, you're automatically entitled to benefit from that. You qualify automatically. And if you haven't, you're going to send me your user ID. If you already have one, you've been using Bitget, because I can add you to the roster. Same thing applies for ByBit as well. I've recently partnered with them too. More information will come there, but I'm excited about that because that ties in directly to my Cornix subscriptions for our members for the signals. That being said, 3 months free with a 12-month plan if you use ExpressVPN. Amazing service there. You will need a VPN if you're going to be considering using any type of leverage. Okay, so most of my community members are using a leverage source, and that comes from, of course, what I just showed you earlier, those leverage exchanges. So here's the thing with Gala. It's obviously doing very well. We can see it, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. But when we look at the chart right now, what I did is I redrew out the Fibonacci retracement level because the previous one was from the previous high to the previous low, right? Well, we want to kind of update that, and I did it from the most recent high to the most recent low. And the reason why is just because it kind of gives us a little more relevant data in the most recent past. Because again, the larger the Fibonacci retracement levels, the time frame rather, then the more secure or impactful those support and resistance levels will be. But when we update this here, now that we've kind of established that right here at the 5.0 mark, basically 5.1 if you were to round up just a little bit, that is essentially a key level support. So we can kind of see that again, kind of highlight this yesterday's video, a lot of potential increase and just an instant rejection when it tried to break through it first time, but this most recent time, it's going to work as a support level. So anyways, that level 5.1 is a support level. The price comes back down to that point, you're going to see the price essentially bounce, okay? That being said, where's it going to go next? That's why we drew out the new Fibonacci retracement levels. We'll see here in just a moment. The thing I want to kind of highlight is that we are testing 70 on the RSI once more. That kind of puts us right here at this 5.7 mark. So 5.7 appears to be a strong resistance level. Yes, we peaked up above that, but we're tentatively down below that, and the candlestick hasn't closed either above or below yet, so we just kind of got to wait. But for lack of better terms, price action being below that right now tells us that this is working as a resistance. Same thing here as well for the convergence. This is a good sign for the most part, more so a bullish sign. But until we close above and we get that convergence, so to speak, where the 12 intersects with the 26 in upward fashion, we're not going to effectively be able to confirm a bullish breakout. But it seems pretty indicative, right? We're above that key level resistance. We broke through the most recent resistance, at least for one day, right? And the likely retest of that level is higher. 5.7 should be retested. That's expected at this point based on what we see here. Once again, we do have the 20-day SMA working its way upwards as a continued support range. So keep in mind, just because we broke below this recent descent or ascending trend does not imply that we're breaking bearish. Okay, it just implies that we kind of broke that immediate one. We got to kind of pay attention. Okay, so we'll go ahead and remove that and just reaffirm that this is a strong support area. And then, of course, just know that this range here, this 20-day SMA, as long as we stay above that, we should be in pretty good shape here to continue this bullish trend. Okay, breaking below that would essentially be a signal to tell us that we might be losing that bullish continuation. Well, for right now, we've got pretty much all signs pointing up here for Gala. I got the question earlier, is it going to reach 10 cents or what was it? Was it $1? Well, I think $1 is a little egregious at this point. We're still a ways away from that, but I do think 10 cents is feasible. Okay, so keep in mind we could very well 2x from here in the next couple of months. Gala has a tendency of running very hard, very fast. If you haven't paid attention, you can see how high it goes. Of course, 84 cents was its highest point, in which it took a very disastrous turn for the worst. But you got to keep in mind too, that was Bitcoin hitting roughly almost 70,000 at that level. So until Bitcoin can get back past a resistance range in like 45,000, 50,000, we're probably going to expect Gala to not hit not hit the $1 mark. I think we're a little ways away from that, but is there potential? For sure. Yeah, this is one of those coins that can run really fast. So that said, we've established the 1 day looks very bullish. What do we look at for that 4 hour? Now, obviously that large candle wick on the daily is starting to retrace. It makes sense. It was extremely overextended. We look at volume weighted average price and Bollinger Bands. It was pushing outside that standard deviation because it went too fast. Right, it flew too close to the sun, as some like to say. So if we take a look at TD sequential, though, we never truly hit our full 9 on TDS, and that's not always the case, right? Keep in mind, 9s on TD sequential occur in relative healthier patterns. This is unhealthy in my professional opinion because you can see here that it was an increase of almost 33% in just under 12 hours. So that to me is still a lot. Even though we're kind of used to that and desensitized to that in cryptocurrency, I think we got to expect that gains of larger than 20% in a short amount of time are due for a pullback. Okay, so either way you look at it, we're down to a 7. We're getting that little reset here, and we're going to probably see some consolidation between the previous resistance level, our new support 5.1, and the current price action at 5.7. I'm not sure specifically where it's going to go in this range. It could go any way, but generally speaking, we can expect 5.7 to be a tentative resistance because it was initially one, got rejected pretty hard, and just because it came back down to potentially bounce off there, doesn't imply it's going to stay and stick, but it should and could. And what I mean by that is typically a previous high turns into the most relevant recent low. So this could very well be a bouncing point. We want to wait for the candlestick to close on the daily first to kind of see if we're above or below that. I'm expecting it to work as a resistance, but that's just my personal opinion. Price action is moving down here. We can kind of see that the price for the RSI more specifically is digressing, and we're getting closer to 50. So ideally, in a perfect world, we hold 50, we hold the line, and the price continues higher. So hypothetically, that puts us at this 0.786 mark on Fibonacci, coincidentally the most recent high as a relevant recent past. Because again, 0.786 to 6.618 on Fibonacci, to me, is usually a very strong support or resistance area. So I think somewhere between 5.3 and 5.5 would be a realistic area in which we can expect the price action to kind of consolidate and hang out. I hope I'm wrong and that we get a bounce off 5.7 and goes higher. But once again, this is a very, very strong increase. The retrace that we're seeing right now is due to this. Again, it's not 100%, but we saw a pullback from Bitcoin get rejected pretty hard right here at 23,400. So that said, if you can kind of see that, there's a similarity here as well, right? A lot of coins kind of got sold off. Same thing with Matic. You can see that here too. It got pushed down pretty hard. Okay. So once more, that's kind of where we're at there for Gala on the 4 hour. It is looking pretty decent in the overall sense of things, but the 4 hour is kind of giving us inclination that we could see further downside to come down and bounce off that 50 on the RSI. And once again, MACD is starting to lose its potential upside here. Obviously, it flew up so fast that anything's going to look interesting on the way down, or more aggressive than it should. But when we have situations like this, typically it'll consolidate at the halfway point, and we're really close to that halfway point right now. So I wouldn't expect a tremendous amount more retracement from Gala, but I also wouldn't expect it to just turn itself right around in the immediate future. I think that we're going to see some consolidation before the next leg up. All right, so the hourly, what's this tell us here? Hourly is always one of my favorite time frames, and the main reason why is because it gives you, better perspective on transition. In other words, from small to large, what's going on. So this to me is the more effective time frame to kind of focus on for entry. Obviously, smaller time frames may be helpful for that specifically as well, but generally speaking, for my swing trade, I like swing trading better than I do day trading. I don't like to have to, add too many gray hairs or white hairs to my head if I don't need to. So let's take a look here. At the 9, we can see we came up to a 9er, right? Copy that 9er. We hit a 9. And then we continued higher, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we basically had 2 9-hour continuations to the upside. So we got a 9 here, plus 9 extra candlesticks, consolidate at the resistance at 6.1. Price comes crashing back down. Big surprise, comes back down to another 9. So here's the question. Is it going to just bounce right back and come up to another 9 here? If it does, and we don't break this level, then we can expect the price to come down further. The reason why I say that is because this is the new resistance level based on the previous run. If we come up here and just say we get rejected off roughly 6 cents even, and it comes back down, that would make perfect sense. I think that would be more likely for us to kind of just see a slow increase and then hit that. Because if just say we come up to a 9 right here, it's going to reject. Okay. Say we come up to a 9 right here, probably the same thing as well, unless we get some massive volume. So to me, unless this run pushes really hard, really fast, and breaks to that resistance level the first time, we're probably not going to see that level broken for a little while. So that just kind of reaffirms that this strong resistance here at about 6.15 or 6.2, if we round up a little bit, is this pretty strong resistance. Okay. So that said, this 9 here is telling us that we could very well see some sideways action and then potential for down, or it could very well consolidate and then leg up again, right? There's a lot of different scenarios that could unfold, but the main thing that we got to recognize here is that this level here at about 5.7 is a very strong resistance level, or it's proven to be a resistance in the past. And the fact that we didn't close our one-day candlestick above this level tells me that we're probably not going to continue much further upwards from here. Again, just my personal opinion. I could be way off. I have been wrong before. Trust me, I'm not perfect. But if we take a look at Ichimoku Cloud, Ichimoku Cloud, it's not Ichimocho, we can see here that we have a couple things here. Let me explain this really quick. So lagging span, first of all, this free and clear price action tells us we have a few more hours before we need to worry about closing our long position, because it could very well continue to run higher. Because again, we are still making higher lows, all right? So there's nothing wrong with that. For the most part, we're looking good. But you see this here, this conversion line coming down here to intersect with the baseline relatively soon. That tells us we're losing momentum. This is a momentous indicator here, and this really tells us a lot in how this trend is performing. So if this were to come down and intersect, there's a great chance that loss of momentum could keep the price action in this range. Okay, so I think that it's more likely for us to see the price stay in this range, and then potentially leg up from here. Versus a massive correction to the downside. I would say sideways action seems more probable for the next 24 hours, and then potentially another increase. And the reason why I say that is because we're still above the cloud here. So if we were to break below the cloud, for example, in the next 24 hours, then at that point we would have a situation where we'd have that working as a resistance level, and this Fibonacci retracement line here at about 5.5 would then be the new resistance, and we'd have to respect that until it continues to break above. So I think sideways action makes the most sense right now. I don't think we're going to see Gala just turn around and run. Even though we came down to a 9, I think the probability is fairly low. It does also depend on Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to stay in the cloud itself? Is it going to continue to progress higher? It's got a lot of momentum to the downside, and it would make sense that it continues sideways or down for the most part. Okay, so again, there's a lot of little scenarios here that could factor in, but to me, we're mostly still bullish on all time frames. I wouldn't say that just taking a long position right now in the blind is a good call. That's not a great idea. I think we want to wait a little bit longer for confirmation. That's just my personal opinion. So to me, if the price were to come back down and retest these lower levels at 5.1, 5.2, that'd be a prime spot. So I would be more interested in this trade if the price was lower. In other words, if we were to come back down to this 5.1 mark, that would be an ultimately best time frame to get in. So let's just go ahead and mark at 5.3, and I can reevaluate later. Because once again, if you can see here, you can see 3 days here of the last 5, the price is rejected out pretty hard at 5.3. We've now broken through that. So 5.3 is a strong likelihood of breaking through, okay, or holding as a support and the price staying above that level is basically what I mean by that. All right, so again, those are just little places I'm going to look at. While it may not come down that low, and I hope it doesn't, if there's a potential and it comes to that range, that would be an interesting level for me to reevaluate and consider jumping in. Okay, so again, I do get a little picky on my entries, honestly. That's why my success rate is fairly high, and I don't necessarily lose out on a lot of trades because I wait a little bit longer for them. So again, different strokes for different folks. You don't have to wait that long. It may never come down to 5.3. I miss a lot of opportunities. There's no doubt. But the ones we do take are typically pretty good, such as our Matic trade yesterday. While I played it a little tight and we closed out after our first profit target, it came all the way down to hit all 5 targets. And that was really nice to see that because, again, that pullback from Bitcoin made sense. All right, anyways, enough about that. I hope you learned something here today. Thank you so much for joining me here. We'll look forward to seeing the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.